Hello, it's Vincent here from Vincent Games. Welcome to round 2 of Black White Zombies in a standard league. This hand is an easy mulligan, even if that was a swamp. To play a turn 1 Dread Wanderer, it's just a 1-line hand, so that ain't going to happen. I think I have to keep this just because I can play stuff. We'll keep, see what the scry is. Binding Mummy is... I don't know if I want this. I kind of just want land, but I ain't going to bottom it. Don't like bottoming powerful cards. We're going to play Cryptbreaker, I think. Because if we draw a 1-drop, we can then cast. We can cast it and play Shambling Vent. So if we draw an untapped land, we can cast Wayward Servant. This is the eternal struggle with this deck. Is you get openers like this, where you can have one, you can have a tap land and an untapped land, but you're gonna have to. Your Cur's gonna have to suffer at some point. Kind of knew this was gonna happen. So knowing we're not going to actually get to draw, we will just swing in. It feels really weak attacking with Cryptbreaker. Yeah. We'd be a very similar situation if we... Now I wish I had a Binding Mummy. Two Smart Bluff Canals. So they're... Oh, I don't know what they are. They could be anything. Okay. Do I want to discard any of this? Probably not. Probably just want to play... Get in there with Cryptbreaker, which is so awful. Cast this little guy. Yeah, the better plays with Cryptbreaker are when you can play at turn 1 and you just make zombies and kind of go to town, but it's just not happening when you got the tap lands like that. So okay, we take 4 in the face. Yep, nice aggressive start from our vehicle opponent, our blue-red vehicle opponent. So the decision here is whether to cast Colossus or the Lord. They're not likely to play sweepers, so I'm happy to kind of go with the we're going to extend into more stuff plan. And I'm going to play Colossus. Train them for 1. And given this board state, I just want to draw a card. I'm not going to attack. The 3 damage is good, but I think I'd rather draw a card. As I'm anticipating some sort of removal spell for the Colossus at this point. Yep. Take 4. Tap 3 zombies. Okay, Dark Salvation is interesting. So we can Dark Salvation for nothing, kill the Scrapheap Scrounger, and then cast a Lord. Or we can Gideon, Emblem up, and dive in. I feel like I want to cast the zombies. Yeah, as much as I want to cast Gideon, I feel like we might get spell quellered here. Let's see. I'd rather not tap out to get spell quellered. So with that in mind, I'm just going to play Dark Salvation to give the Scrapheap Scrounger -3. Actually, let's undo that. Let's go with, we've basically telegraphed we have Dark Salvation now. So let's see if they spell color the Lord of the Accursed. So we get a cast trigger, which is nice. Yeah, so here comes a spell color, which is this is going to work out better for us. So that's good. So they spell color our Lord of the Accursed. We get a life. And then we're going to Dark Salvation the spell color this time to get our Lord of the Accursed back. And this is good because we're going to gain a decent chunk of life, so them racing becomes a lot harder for them. Okay. Means we get to cast Lord of the Accursed twice, get another drain trigger, and then another drain trigger. So getting more drain triggers this way and just keeping our life total high, which is really good. It's just felt better than casting, yeah. That was much better to play around spell color like that to do that, because then what we would hit them for 3, 6, 8 damage if we go all in with the creatures we could hit with. Whereas if we just tapped out for Gideon there, it gets spell colored and we sit there and get hit in the air for 4 again, which is not ideal. So what do we want against this? This looked like Jeskai vehicles. So Fatal Push is probably a really good tempo play. Anguished Unmaking is nice for Gideons. I don't know if we want Gideons of our own. Again, for the whole spell queller reason. Dark Salvation is pretty good against them. Liliana's Mastery is awesome as well. If they're bringing counter spells or they have Metallic Rebuke, then that really hurts. So I don't like taking out Liliana's Mastery or Gideon, but if we take out some of the slower stuff, we boarded in a Decking Stone, an Anguished Unmaking, and a Grasp of Darkness. Just 6 cards to try and clear the board against them. Taking a Mastery because the Mastery is good. Maybe not the Anguished Unmaking. I'm worried about Gideon, but we have 2 main deck anyway. So if we leave 2 Liliana's Mastery in, yeah, we'll try this. This feels like it could be wrong. I don't like taking out Liliana's Mastery. Probably should have not done that. But then we're going second, and we want to be able to answer their threats. This is very much a race between their vehicles and our zombies. This hand's reasonable. It's not great because of the lands. One too many lands in the opener here. But we do have a Cryptbreaker, which is nice, and then Dark Salvation and Colossus, so we'll keep. I like Colossus in this match because they're flying over the top, so it's nice to have stuff to go wide. Wow, as twice they've not had a 1-drop, which is bad for them. I don't see a reason not to play Cryptbreaker here. Magma Spray is probably a good reason, but oh no, not sure if they play Magma Spray actually. So they're going to scry now. I think I'm just going to snap Dark Salvation here. Ugh. Well, if they play a vehicle, they can't crew it. Play a hasty vehicle. I kind of want to build up Cryptbreaker. Maybe hold on to the Dark Salvation to get more value. Yeah, that might be a better play. So I don't know. I just feel like casting a Salvation here for 1. Well, X is none. You kill the Veteran Motorist, which could be really good. But that's about it. And then when you get in for 1, just feels really weak. So I'm just going to play a Swamp and pass so that we can just build up zombies with the Cryptbreaker. This is something that I touched on, I think, in the deck tech about Cryptbreaker bringing a little bit of flood protection or card selection. There's not really card selection, but he's definitely helping here to turn our extra lands that we've drawn into zombies. To the point where I may just trade. Yeah, it's very tempting to trade here. No, see, they don't want to trade. That suggests to me that their hand's quite weak if they're willing to kill off a zombie. Because, I mean, surely you just harness lightning the Cryptbreaker. I mean, they really want to race here. Which I think favours us if they're trying to force through that, because there's the life gain that we've got and that I mentioned before. We kind of do that a lot better. Could play Colossus here. Get in for 1. I'm going to take some damage by doing this. Or we could just Dark Salvation. Get a zombie this time though, which is better than the Dark Salvation before. I think we want to threaten another zombie. Because again, their hand is I'm sure must just be not very exciting if they're just trying to force through damage like this. I'm happily just going to offer the trade again. I'm not too worried to get rid of the excess lands, knowing that we've boarded out Gideon's and I only have 2 Liliana's Mastery, so I'm not totally unhappy about this. Now that I've said that, of course, I will probably just draw Liliana's Mastery. Do I get rid of Shambling Vent? I'd rather have an untapped land, I think. So we'll pitch Shambling Vent. Which is not great, but there we are. We will trade now. We want to preserve our life total, I think. Sure. Okay, so we play this. Let's go with the go wide. Probably should hold back on the Colossus to try and make it bigger. But I want to be able to just build up a ball presence. So this is great now. So just cast Wayward Servant, get a zombie. Now, I have a feeling something might get spell quellered here. So if I want the Lord to get spell quellered, it's annoying. But then I've got the Dark Salvation for it next turn, which will probably just get spell quellered. But then I can play it for X is very little, and I'd still -3 it. Yeah. Let's just run it out there, because if they've got it, they've got it. We're getting zombies by doing this as well. So we get a zombie, keep our life total up. Or rebuke is, yeah, fine. So we lose the Lord. I will not pay 4 for the rebuke. I had a feeling whatever we were going to cast would be counted there. Or spell quellered, shall we say, something. Okay, so much more confident about swinging in now. Have to be mindful of ribbons in the graveyard. Oh, or just casting another cut. So yeah, that was my worry about casting the Colossus for not very much, just because with not very much in the graveyard, because it dies to cut, but it would have been counted anyway when we tried to get more out of it. We just go on the offensive. We don't want a Dark Salvation now, but we go on the offensive. do a nice healthy 8 damage to our opponent, play our land to make our Dark Salvation better, although we have an even number now, so it makes no difference. Fumigate, yep, sure. Fumigate's annoying. Yeah, we'll cast Cryptbreaker. I do kind of want to... 1, 2... Yeah, let's just make 2 zombies. Gets around them countering it. And it means we have a way to draw cards now. And we put pressure on the board. So even if we get Raft or something stupid, we've only lost 1 card out of the deal because we're able to draw. But it didn't happen. Binding Mummy. Okay, so again we just go in with a Shambling Vent. So that's me 2, 4, 6, 7, 7 damage. As much as I really want to draw a card, I think just killing them in 2 turns is probably better. I got a Fatal Push for shenanigans as well. I don't think we send the Cryptbreaker in because that's 6 damage. It's still dead in 2 turns. Whereas the Cryptbreaker gives us options. I just want to lose that to whatever he's going to block with. Oh, I have a Spellquatter, I imagine, or Avacyn, or the Needle Spires. So it becomes a creature, and we get to Fatal Push it. Puts them to 5. Yeah, if they sweep here, then that's not great, but yeah. I did wonder what they could possibly have at this point, but it was obviously nothing. So yeah, that was great. That played out exactly as I would hope it would, just killing their stuff and having some removal for their own things. My assumption was that they would have like a bit more of a curve in like Toolcraft Exemplar into a vehicle, etc. But no, they look like they've transformed, which I think the vehicles decks kind of do. I don't think the vehicles decks have a very good matchup against zombies, but I think in the main deck they don't have an awful lot of removal. So they sort of transformational sideboard into lots of removal. However, the way we sideboarded, just kind of removing Gideons, which would be very weak to counter spells, and the higher end of our curve, we're able just to represent a lot of threats and just fight through that way. I think we made good use of the Cryptbreaker there as well, which was nice. So stick around for round 3.